What was the other half?
Sure. Levi writes, Mark, is there anything you can add in terms of a director bringing a great scene to life?
Okay, I mean, first of all, everything Michael's saying is, as far as I can, is right on, in terms of creating that scene and all the, which I appreciate. I do appreciate all the elements about the objectives and about the obstacles and about the subject. All of that is necessary for a good scene. Now, my job as a director's job is now to bring it to life. First of all, we're bringing in actors, which was only going to make it more complex and confusing. But the first thing, sort of going back a little bit, what Michael's saying is for the director to look at this scene now, and it's just assuming the writer's not there or whatever, just looking at the scene and starting to understand a lot about the scene in terms of what Michael was just talking about. In other words, okay, I have this scene, these 2 or 3 characters. What does each character want? Do I know what each character wants? Do I know what the obstacles are? Do I know what's in the way of him or her achieving what they want in the scene? Do they achieve what they want in the scene? Do they think they have achieved it and maybe they haven't? Have they achieved it and maybe they don't realize they have? In other words, looking at the character, do they have an idea of how the character thought he might go about trying to achieve what he wants? In other words, what was his intention? What was his plan? Did he have a plan? Is he going on? Just all of these things that are going on inside the character. Then going down deeper into the scene, again with it before working with actors, subtextually what is going on between these characters, what is going on in every single scene, every single moment. There is a deep, rich subtext of what the characters are not saying. Some of the dialogue you talked about, that is that horrible dialogue on the nose, well, that's not being said. Okay, now I'm looking at the scene, it's not there. The writer didn't give me that. Do I know, can I feel, can I sense, do I have any idea of what's really going on inside these characters? A lot of what I talk about is every character in every scene has 2 objectives. I mean, they have way more than 2, but there are 2 main. One objective is the objective the character would state. This is what I want. I want to convince her that we should go on this vacation. That's the scene. Great. What's really going on? Now there's a private objective. What am I really doing? What's really driving me? Is it my control over her or my dominance of her? What is the really deeper objective? Am I trying to prove to her that I'm a good leader? I don't know, whatever it is, which is not written in the scene. Can I sense that for every single character in the scene? Then there's another part of the scene, this again before working with the actors. To me, every scene has, I don't care how small the scene is, every scene has what I call a core moment. There's a moment in the scene. There's a little moment. It usually comes, this is almost very similar to your structure for the whole story. Mm-hmm. It usually comes about almost at the end of the scene, or 3/4, or a little, the end. There's a moment. And sometimes it's the briefest moment. It could be a recognition, it could be a line, it could be somebody's, which is really the primary reason why this scene is in the movie. Now, the characters have to go through this whole scene and pursue these objectives and up against these obstacles, and then they're going to hit this core moment where either, we'll just say there were 2 characters. The characters realize something, understand something, hear something, sense something. There's a shift, there's a slight change. This is part of the arc and the transformation of the character. Or I, the audience, sense something, see something. Something is going to shift in me that I realize is about the character that the character always knew, and now it's revealed, or it's revealed from one character to another. In other words, there's something that by the end of this scene, everything has changed. And it could happen in a brief moment, a real brief moment. So I work with directors. I said, identify what that core moment is, what you think that is. Because I say, as you're directing it, you're aiming for that. You're aiming for that moment to happen between the characters and between the characters and the audience. Then you bring in the actors. Now we're bringing in the actors. Now we're adding the elements of how to direct the scene. Then you go back to, like we were talking about earlier, building the character, interrogating the character, igniting the character, and then to make the scene work, just think about one thing. I have this character, this man, he's going to go in, he's going to try to convince his wife to go on a vacation or something simple like that. What state of mind, emotional, mental, spiritual, physical, whatever, do I want to send this character into the scene? How does he start? And what is his intention, his objective at the beginning? Actually, forget for the moment how the scene turns out. Forget it, because the character doesn't know how the scene's going to turn out. So if you want an authentic character, you got to figure out how to send him in and allow the character, as we're rehearsing, allow the character ignited in a certain way to go in and literally not play the scene, but run into the scene and be surprised by what he says and what the other person says. Not be planned. I say this, you say that, I said. That's the planned scene. An authentic scene is, I'm surprised by what you said, I'm even surprised by what I said. In other words, that's the authenticity, and still I'm designing it to hit that core moment.